Good morning, everyone. A new Consumer Reports investigation finds there may be more mercury in canned tuna than you realize. It's important to note that those mercury levels are within FDA standards, which currently say pregnant people can eat canned tuna in small quantities. Bradley Blackburn has more on why limiting exposure to mercury, though, is important.
Eating fish has many health benefits, but fish can also contain mercury, which in high amounts can be harmful. Possible health risks from mercury include impaired brain function, loss of smell, and developmental delays in children.
If you have a high mercury level while the brain is developing in a fetus, there can be cognitive issues later in life. So we're very cautious in a developing brain. So that is young children and pregnant women especially need to keep mercury away from those neurons that are developing.
CBS News medical contributor Dr. David Agus says certain fish have more mercury.
It's the larger fish and the deeper fish where you get the mercury. Swordfish, tuna, and other big, deep fish have higher levels of mercury. Very little mercury, for example, in salmon and trout and other smaller fish that are at the surface.
So for typical adults, it's best not to eat those fish too often.
You can have 1 to 3 servings a week of tuna, and as an adult, it would be very safe.
Dr. Agus says moderation is key. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
It's estimated that about 8% of pregnant women in the U.S. have a mercury level that may affect the brain development of the child. All right, heart disease is the leading cause of death in the United States for both men and women, but studies show that women wait longer to seek medical care. Nora O'Donnell reports that many women are not aware that their symptoms can be different. Take a listen.
When Dr. Sandra Nichols had a massive heart attack, she didn't tell anyone outside her immediate family.
I was embarrassed.
At the time, she was working too much, not sleeping enough, and says she felt the burden of being everything to everyone.
If you can't manage your own health, if you can't manage your own work-life balance, you cannot be there for others. You can't be the best person that you can be.
Despite her medical training, she didn't realize symptoms of congestion and shortness of breath meant a heart attack was around the corner.
Sneaky stress that I was under that really led to, which is one of the most surprising moments of my life, a massive heart attack.
Dr. Anam Minhas, a cardiologist at Johns Hopkins, says the signs of heart distress in women can be subtle and that stress is a major contributing factor.
The heart is not just one thing independent of the rest of the body. Nourishing every aspect of your health will overall make you a much healthier person.
Most cardiac events can be prevented through things like proper diet and exercise, consistent sleep, knowing family history, and trying to keep that stress to a minimum. Knowing the different ways heart attacks can present in women can be life-saving. The arm pain that many men experience isn't as common, but neck or jaw pain, shortness of breath, nausea, and fatigue are. For Nichols, as both a physician and a heart attack survivor, she says it's never been more important to stop and listen to your own body.
Because if not, they might find themselves flat on the floor, and I strongly hope no one has to go through what I've gone through.
Doctors we spoke with really emphasize the importance of sleep, and they encourage women to prioritize rest. All this week, we're going to be talking about medical breakthroughs and ways to improve your heart health. I'm Nora O'Donnell, CBS News, Washington.
Coming up, making a connection between robots and people. That story a little later on Mid-Morning. Scientists in the UK are taking aim at a polyester, searching for a way to recycle the popular clothing material instead of throwing it away. Researchers say they're on the verge now of cracking the code. Tina Cross has that story from London.
Scientists in England are trying to turn back time on textiles with plastic-eating enzymes that could give clothing new life.
What we want to do is to see whether the enzymes that can break down these plastic bottles are also able to break down the polyester in fabrics such as this.
To unravel the mystery, researchers at the University of Portsmouth are busy cutting up clothing and dipping it in liquid nitrogen to break it down into small particles. Those pieces are put in a water-based solution in a bioreactor with the enzymes, which digest the plastic and turn it back into raw material to make new plastic.
Obviously, we're looking for the enzyme that's the fastest, that's going to break this down as quickly as possible.
Scientists say the enzymes could help recycle polyester and stop millions of tons of waste from ending up in landfills or being burned every year.
The recycling rates for textiles when they reach their end of life is very, very poor, typically less than 10%.
Polyester is typically made from petroleum, and it's the most widely used clothing fiber in the world, accounting for 60% of what we wear. But experts say it's not sustainable, especially when it's dyed or treated with chemicals.
So having a nature-inspired solution to reutilize the polymers that are in our clothing at end of life could be a real game changer.
Keeping clothing off the pile and in our closets. Tina Kraus, CBS News, London.
One of the most popular themes in science fiction is the idea of humans and robots coexisting in society. With millions in funding from the National Science Foundation, the largest robot human experiment to date is looking to see if fiction can become reality. CBS's Omar Villafranca shows us why the key to success has less to do with circuit boards and more to do with us.
When they walk around campus, all the attention is on them.
Oh my God. I'm taking a picture with the dog.
They're on 4 legs or 4 wheels. The robots roaming the campus at the University of Texas at Austin are part of a groundbreaking science and social experiment deep in the heart of Texas's robotics program. Social scientist Carrie Stevens and engineer Luis Sentis are both working on the project.
You want to see how these programmable robots are interacting with non-programmable humans, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. The spin that we're giving here is that we're not so much interested in a one-to-one interaction with that particular human. We're interested in the interaction with the community.
For now, the first assignment is to stroll through busy walkways, delivering sanitizer and wipes. Soon, they may be able to communicate, giving directions and even tours. But researchers won't just be watching the robots.
Are you going to be watching more the robots or the people?
We're going to watch both. And then that gives us a lot of feedback with how we might need to adjust the robots to make people more comfortable around them.
Comfort is the key word. With the help of special cameras, the study will look at every reaction the people have, from body language and facial expressions to how they walk around the machines.
What would a robot be like on a day-to-day basis if you're interacting with it every day? And that robot needs to be convenient to be around.
Justin Hart is a UT computer science professor, and today he's in control of Spot, the largest and easily the most popular of the robots.
Hi.
Just taking Spot for a stroll garners the attention and data that scientists hope will make this 5-year study a success. As robotics and artificial intelligence become more involved in our everyday lives.
Moving these things into the wild, I expect to make lots and lots of discoveries about how people actually accomplish things and how to make these interfaces actually work.
A step towards the future, 4 legs at a time. For Eye on America, Omar Villafranca, Austin.
All right, you may stop by the shopping center while running errands, but you probably would never expect to see a farm instead of a shoe store. It's happening in Virginia. Eric Flack has a tour.
Tucked away in this Arlington strip mall,
We've been in business since 2017.
Ryan Pierce is cultivating the future of farming.
Hey, Cody. So, all of this is automated.
They turned the lights back on so we could take a closer look at Fresh Impact Farms, Northern Virginia's first urban vertical farm. Using hydroponic technology, all water, no soil, and a ton of LED lighting, Fresh Impact grows herbs, greens, and 23 varieties of edible flowers cultivated for specific flavors. From wasabi arugula.
Tastes just like wasabi. It's got the kick at the end.
Yep.
To the exotic Szechuan button.
So you're going to eat just the yellow part.
Pierce failed to tell me its nickname is Buzz Button.
At first, what do you experience?
At first, I just experience, oh my God, getting hot.
My palate may not have been ready, but inside this once empty warehouse space, you will find greens used to garnish delicacies at some of DC's finest restaurants.
Fiola Mare, Fiola, 7 Reasons, Imperfecto.
The biggest investment with a vertical farm is the startup cost. This one topped hundreds of thousands of dollars, and that's before you get to the electricity bill, which is about $2,000 a month here at Fresh Impact.
Do I believe it's a way of the future? Yes. Do I think everybody should be doing it? Probably not.
But Arlington County is hoping to plant a flag in the vertical farming industry by encouraging more urban grow operations like this one as a way to fix its own growing problem.
In layman's terms, you're trying to fill the space.
Correct.
And that's a challenge these days.
It is.
In Arlington, office vacancy rates have hit an all-time high, now hovering about 22%, with more and more companies not renewing leases post-pandemic. Ryan Toohill, executive director for Arlington Economic Development, says for every percentage point office vacancy rates rise, Arlington loses about $3.5 million a year in tax revenue.
There are no silver bullets, and I think that's the mindset we have to take, is that it's going to be a lot of little things.
Which is why Arlington recently rolled back decades-long zoning laws that will allow alternative uses of all this empty office space. Everything from breweries to pet sitting, and yes, vertical farms.
But I caution that we're going to solve other problems with this industry right now.
Problems like empty office space.
Problems like empty office space. Offices are designed for people. Making something comfortable for people to work at desks is totally different from making something comfortable to essentially manufacture plants.
Imagine if your first day of school changed everything. Memories from 60 years ago with pioneers in education. That's coming up on Mid-Morning. All right, welcome back, everyone. 62 years ago, 3 girls who helped change history. At 6 years old, they desegregated their New Orleans school the same morning as Ruby Bridges integrated a different school just blocks away. But their story has often gone untold. Jamie Wax met the pioneers who were nicknamed the McDonough Three after the school they integrated. They talked about their heroism and why they returned to their school to make history again.
It was integration day today for the first grades of 2 New Orleans elementary schools.
It was a short walk, but perhaps one of the most historic. Alongside U.S. Marshals, 3 little girls stepping foot into McDonough 19 Elementary in New Orleans to desegregate schools in the state for the very first time, creating national impact.
Local police in large numbers were on hand to see that integration took place without trouble.
On the morning of November 14, 1960, 6-year-olds Leona Tate, Gail Etienne, and Tessie Prevost were met by the roars of protesters.
What was your sense as a child walking past all of that? Did you know it was directed to you?
With the way they were howling and making noises, I thought if they could have got to me, they would have killed me. They were angry with me, and I didn't know why. At 6 years old, I didn't understand why they were acting like that.
My daddy told me in the car, he said, look straight ahead, take my hand, and I'm here. And I wasn't afraid. For some reason, I just wasn't afraid. I felt protected with my daddy.
And then one by one, every single student left except for the 3 of you. Every single student.
Every single.
But the teachers stayed.
Yeah. They had received a telegram that morning telling them if they didn't report to school, they would be
all the
fired.
teachers had to stay.
No violence, but plenty of vocal abuse.
For the rest of the year, Tate, Etienne, and Prevost remained the only students in the entire school.
Ruth Nell Bridges has to go to school.
But the media's attention was on first grader Ruby Bridges, who desegregated William Frantz Elementary School in the same city on the same day.
Somehow the world knows Ruby Bridges. You were sort of forgotten in the mix. Did you feel that way?
Oh yeah. You know, because just knowing what we went through, you know, and for people not to remember that was hurtful.
They hold no resentment toward Bridges. They forged on, but will never forget the abuse they faced in the other integrated schools they attended throughout childhood.
In that first year, I was on nerve medicine for a while.
As a child?
As a child, at 6 years old, yes. At Sims, I got hit in the stomach with a baseball bat. And the teachers didn't do anything about it. The principal, nobody. It was like it didn't happen. Got beat up in the classroom, spit on us, spit in our food.
In a way, there's no possible ability anyone has to express or discuss what you three have shared as a shared experience. I mean, that's a very special bond.
Oh, yes, it is. Oh, yeah, it is.
Sisters for life.
It is.
Their sisterhood brought them back to the school 62 years later, this time with a new mission.
And this is the same door.
The Leona Tate Foundation for Change recently purchased the school, transforming the building that's been vacant since Hurricane Katrina into an educational space that opened just a few months ago. It's called the TEP Center, a nod to their three initials.
We are sitting here in the school that the three of you came to as 6-year-olds. Tell me about reclaiming this space for what it is now.
This center is to educate those that didn't know about the integration and the desegregation of public schools. And if you feel like you're a part of that, this is the place you come to try to solve that problem.
Oh, wow. This is the classroom.
This is the classroom.
Visitors can step foot into the original classroom the girls were confined to in 1960, the only room they were allowed to sit in.
This class was full of students when we got here. But in a matter of a few minutes, they were all gone.
Upstairs, the top 2 floors of the building have been converted to apartments for seniors, like Richard Johnson, the first resident to move in.
When I come through them doors, them glass doors, and I'm inside, this is like heaven. This is a spot only, this is a special spot. This is special.
Do you feel a sense of the history of this space?
Oh, trust me, I do. It's like a caterpillar turning to a cocoon and then it turns to the butterfly. That's what happened. It's beautiful.
This caterpillar of a building has only grown with time. What started as the center of pain for 3 little girls has turned into one of hope for the 3 women today. In fact, November 14th has officially been declared New Orleans 4 Day in the city, recognizing the heroism of all 4 trailblazers whose short walk led to lasting change.
I'll ask each of you, would you do it again if you had to do it again?
Yes, I would. Yes, I would.
All 3 of you?
It made it better. It opened up doors, opportunities for other people. You know, so somebody had to make the sacrifice, and I guess it was the 3 of us.
The chosen ones.
The chosen ones.
Yes.
Many people are hoping to get that date, November 14th, nationally recognized as November 4 Day. For CBS News, I'm Jamie Wax in Los Angeles.
All right, when we come back and honor a long time coming. That story is ahead on Mid-Morning. All right, welcome back. Retired Army Green Beret Colonel Paris Davis is set to receive the nation's highest combat decoration, the Medal of Honor, for his heroism in Vietnam nearly 6 decades ago. The award was delayed after the paperwork mysteriously vanished twice at the height of the civil rights movement. Senior investigative correspondent Catherine Herridge reports on this story.
Congratulations to you and to your whole family.
The call from the Commander-in-Chief ended a nearly 6-decade wait for retired Colonel Paris Davis, one of the first black officers in the Army's elite Green Berets.
What does it mean to you personally to finally be recognized?
It gives me a lot of pleasure and pride in the fact that, number one, I'm an American.
It's northeast of Saigon near Bong Son.
Davis will receive the Medal of Honor for his heroic actions in 1965 at the Battle of Bong Son. Hit by a grenade and gunfire, Davis refused to leave behind 2 of his wounded troops, Billy Waugh and Robert Brown, as Davis first recounted to a then upcoming local TV host, Phil Donahue.
Well, I told him, sir, I'm just not going to leave. I still have an American out there.
And what did he say?
He told me to move out, and I just disobeyed the order.
Ron Dice is one of the mission's only survivors.
Captain Davis refused and said, no, I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving while I have men out of the field.
Davis's commanding officer, Billy Cole, nominated him for the nation's highest military decoration, the Medal of Honor. But then the records mysteriously vanished. A 1969 military review did not reveal any file on Davis.
Why do you think the paperwork was lost?
I thought that maybe this was just one of those racist things that that shouldn't have happened, but did happen. And when he got lost the second time, I was convinced.
While Davis had more than a dozen volunteers behind him, historian Douglas Sterner says other deserving veterans will go unrecognized.
The military award system is broken. Broken not only in the regard of awards presented, but in proper preservation of the history of those men and women.
This green binder contains Davis's service records. On Monday, we returned it as promised with the job done.
There's a reason for me to say thank you.
58 years later, Davis remains grateful for his Army service and the country he defended.
America can heal you. If you allow America, give it the time to do so, it will do it in spades.
Davis told CBS News the president's team is working with his family to schedule a formal Medal of Honor ceremony at the White House. Davis's family says they're hoping for the spring before his 84th birthday in May. Catherine here at CBS News, Washington.
And we'll be right back to wrap things up. Stay with us. All right, be sure you stay connected with us. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We'll see you back here next time.